A very warm good morning to all the freshers and club members. This is Ayushi Gupta from Electrical Engineering Part 2. I congratulate all the freshers on making it to IIT BHU. Now, I would like to introduce you all with the Seki and joint Seki of AMC Club. Gyanendra Bhaiya, Secretary of AMC Club. Priyansh Bhaiya, Joint Secretary of AMC Club. Yash Bhaiya, Joint Secretary of AMC Club. Now I will play a short video. Let's see. Wait. Is it visible?
Yes. లేదురా లేదే సెకండ్ బొమ్మ లేదే
उत्कर्ष पांडे सेइंग कि ब्लैक स्क्रीन आ रहा है उसका.
वीडियो नहीं दिख रही. हेलो.
No. No, ma'am.
Now it's visible.
Yes.
Yes. This is the
I see there is too much lagging.
Due to some technical issues, there were some sound issues. So we will post the video link in the chat box. You can see afterwards. Now I have. Yeah.
1 minute. You first please watch that video, right? It will take around
Yeah.
1 minute. Please watch now.
Excuse me. Now I hand it over to Gyanendra Bhaiya. He will introduce you with the AMC Club.
Hello everyone. I am Gyanendra Singh, third year electrical. I'm working as acting secretary at Aero Modeling Club. I didn't bath today, so I'm not turning on my video. So I think the first question that you should ask, the what do we have for you, right? And what basically means that what does this club has for you? To answer to this question, we make models of drones, planes, hovercrafts, rockets, and also some solve some challenging robotic problem in the field of UAVs. UAVs means unmanned aerial vehicles, which can be planes or drones. In this series, we have around 20 working models of drones and around 30 working models for planes in our club only. So I answered the first question, what we do in our club and what do we have for you. And the second question can be, how can you join this club? So this question is most common, I think. So how can you join this club? See, I'm saying this to every first year, right? And I'm repeating it further. See, joining any club means participating in its activities and showing interest in different undergoing projects. Uh, and when will it happen? Probably after knowing the fundamentals, you will start contributing in our projects. Let me make you understand the brief categorization or a subsection of our club. So I'm trying to give you a roadmap for this orientation. Okay. So the first one is our first subsection is aerial robotics, a team in which you will, you will explore the whole robotics on a drone. To be very precise, on a terrestrial board. Terrestrial board crawl on the surface while drone can fly, right? You might have seen the gesture control drone, obstacle avoidance drone, raw simulations of drones, and swarm technique. You didn't know the swarm technique. I think you didn't know. This is something this is something like cooperative intelligence. You will learn further. We'll go into it. The basic all this stuff comes under aerial robotics. So I told you about aerial robotics. What comes under okay, so let me introduce you to our second subsection, which is basically SAE Aero, a team in which will help you to understand the deep analysis, structure, and dynamic behavior of planes by doing various simulations on XFLR5, ANSYS, and this team has already left a mark at national level. So you will learn a lot of things in it. And from now, I make you understand that I answered your first question. I answered your second question. I have given you a brief categorization in our club, which is aerial robotics, which is SAE Aero Team Indiza, and the joining of our club will start from participation in our events. So mainly there are 4 events. First one is Gaganyaan, second one is drone tech, third one is for plane, and fourth one is for hovercraft. In Gaganyaan, you will make a rocket which will complete the problem statement. Problem statement will be.
Your voice is not clear.
Is that?
Clear, sir, clear. Your voice is clear.
No way, it's clear.
Now?
Yes, way, it's
Is it
clear.
clear now?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay.
Continue.
So there will be 4 events, and this journey of joining our club will start from the participation in our event. So there will be 4 events mainly. Gaganyaan, in which you will make one rocket and will complete the problem statement. Drone tech, in which you will make a drone and will complete the problem statement there too. And for planes, you will make the one RC plane and will understand the theories behind. There are a lot of theories. You will learn all of this and will complete the problem statement there too. Hovercraft, same here. You will make a hovercraft and participate in the events. And for each event, best 3 performers will be rewarded with a cash prize or something from SNTs. we have also planned more competitions for entry in team aerial robotics, team SAE, team Swarm, etc. These things will be explained later. Okay. So apart from all of this, we can assign you some work related to video editing, handling social pages in the web team of our club. These things will be based on your interest and will be discussed later. So I think uh, please pay attention that there will be a lot of technical terms in this orientation and probably you won't get everything. Okay, so don't worry if you don't understand, and actually it's not possible to cover our 1 year work in 1 hour only. So there is a right time for everything, and you will learn all of this if you will be with us. Okay, so from now I'll handing it over to Ayushi.
Thank you, Bhaiya. Now, our club members will brief you about the different projects and events of AMC Club. But before starting that, I expect you to follow certain rules. You all should maintain certain decency during the orientation. And if anyone of you has any doubt, you can post it in the chat box. Any one of us will clear your doubt. So, now proceeding further, I request Team Aerial Robotics to present their work. Team Aerial Robotics.
Hello everyone, I am Pratyush from Electronics third year. So before starting this session, I would like to know how many of you have ever fly a drone? Anyone? You can reply in the comment or speak it.
I have.
Okay, I can see some responses.
I
Okay,
have.
okay. Those who have flight or ever or even watch a video of a drone flying, can anyone tell me how many degree of freedom does a drone have? Any guesses? Number of degree of freedoms of a drone.
Three.
Oh, any more guess? Yeah, I got the right answer. One is saying 6. Yeah, 6 is the right answer.
Five.
Actually, yeah, I will explain it. Basically, there are 3 translational and 3 rotational motions along x, y, and z axis. So the answer is 6. Okay. So so anyone who is interested in making drones or just want to explore in this field, this club is a very good choice for you all. Like before pandemic, yeah, someone raised a hand. Yeah, okay. So before pandemic, we are basically focusing much more on designing and building the drones from scratch, and we are mainly focusing on a flying part and participating in various events such as inter IT or technical fests. But from this year onwards, we are also starting our new research team, which will be mainly focusing on automating the drones. Like you have already seen our few videos and projects such as hand gesture drone or object avoidance, and also IoT drones. Have How many of you have watched Spider-Man Homecoming? I think most of you have watched. So you can see how the
Yes.
Tony Stark goggles is used for deploying the drones from satellite and protecting the world like something. So this is the IoT drones. This is the era of IoT. So we are doing research, and we will allow you to make and explore much more in this field. So the only prerequisite for you to join this team is mainly you just need some good idea about basic programming languages and a passion for learning something new to explore much more in this field. So, but apart from these all the projects which you have seen, our videos, the major part of that is ROS, machine learning, and OpenCV. I will explain you for so the club will explain you basically all these topics in the upcoming workshops. So don't get panic like how you are going to manage it and you don't know anything like that, all such stuffs. So I would like to call Vishnu, who will going to explain you a brief idea about what the basically ROS is, like ROS. Okay, Vishnu. Vishnu. Somnath, anyone?
Yes, Bhaiya. Just a second. I'm presenting it. Yeah. Is my screen visible to all? Hello?
Yes.
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 Right. A warm welcome to all.
Yes.
I'm Somnath, Electrical Part 2. Here in aerial robotics, we would be splitting the presentation in two, one being the robotic operating system and the other being OpenCV. Now, now I would be presenting just the initial part. Okay. So now, why would we need ROS? Why would we need any of these technologies to be inculcated into a device? Now you can see on the right, it's a joke that that's a drone. But in reality, a drone is not smart or not going to be able to learn anything or not going to be able to control itself. We would have our controller, and that would be the brains of the drone. But what we really aim at is to get the brains inside itself, so that we can actually plan more algorithms. We can use it in real world solutions and not have a human behind it all. So this is the basic idea of ROS, that we can control them, we can make them think, we can make them learn. So I guess now I would like to give it to Vishnu, who would like to talk more about what ROS is, and later I would come to some of the implementations that we did.
Yeah, thank you, Somnath. Hello, guys. This is Vishnu from Electrical Part 2. Here we will discuss about what is ROS and how it works and what are its advantages and how do we implement it in our club. Basically, ROS stands for Robot Operating System, and even by the name, you can sense that it helps us in operating robots. In order to understand about ROS, you need to know about what is a robot. Whenever you hear the word robot, quickly a picture comes into mind that, like you can see in the left side, that huge giant robots which are similar to humans, and they can perform similar tasks like human, like jumping, walking and running. But what the actual scene is, robot is a programmable machine that can perform a series of tasks automatically, and it can be a drone or mobile bot or robotic arm or any other. Basically, shape depends upon their functions. And irrespective of their shapes and functions, every robot shares the same basic characteristics like perceiving with the world around them, and software for making high-level decisions, and motors and controllers for actuation. But how all these components are interconnected and how we can actually work on it. ROS provides a powerful communication system allowing all these components like sensors and motors to connect with each other and allowing message passing between them and making the robot to work properly. So ROS is a software framework that helps us in robotic development. And it is not a typical operating system like Windows and Ubuntu, and ROS also provides us various tools for visualization and simulation, and we will discuss about simulation within very short time. This is a brief explanation about ROS. And now we will discuss about how ROS works at low level, actually how ROS works at hardware. Let's try to understand this by considering a hand gesture drone that we're actually working on. And similar to other robots, it will also perform the same three high-level tasks of perception, decision making, and actuation. ROS divides these complex tasks into smaller units called nodes. Actually, nodes are just pieces of software that can be written in C++ or Python and each node is assigned to a certain task, like one task of one node to collect images from camera, and task of another node to estimate distance between us and drone using the LiDAR, and many other. So ROS connect all these nodes together and allows message passing between them and making the drone to function properly. This is, and Somnath, can we move on to next slide? Yeah. See, if you test our code directly on our real drone, assume there might be something wrong in algorithm, there might be bugs in our algorithm, and it is moving in a wrong path rather than the actual path that we expected and gets crashed out. And so we need to fix it again, which is wastage of both time and money. So here comes the role of a simulator. Simulator is just a program or a mission that will mimic the real world and allows us to model a 3D simulated version of robot and surroundings with exactly the same physics, almost like a real robot. So we can build a virtual robot or a virtual quadcopter similar to the real drone that we're working on, and we can test our code on simulator, and if it works properly on a simulator, then we can try it on real world. You can see image of this drone that we have created, virtual drone that we have created on the Gazebo. Gazebo is such a physics-based 3D dynamic simulator, and we can add sensors to our robot, and we can also add realistic lighting just similar to our surroundings. And Gazebo is the most widely used simulator that because of its much simpler user interface, and it can work on several operating systems like Windows, Mac, and Linux. So this is simply what about ROS and Gazebo, and we can say that Gazebo and ROS are the essential tools of every roboticist. And now I will handing this to Yes, and he will explain you about how ROS and IoT are interconnected and so on. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you, Vishnu. I would like Yash to explain the other half of the presentation.
Thank you, Somnath. Good evening, all of you. My name is Yash Upadhyay from Electronics, second year. So now we are talking about ROS. Now, the first question that should come in your mind, that is, why are we talking about ROS actually? I mean, okay, this is a simulator. They are softwares, and there are also other kind of things. So why are we talking about it? And we are in AMC, so we should talk about planes or something like that. So here is the answer to it. Now, as you can see, this world is growing fast, and also we requires automation in our things, such as we want automatic houses, we want automatic phones, we want everything automatic. You could say that. So for doing so, we have come to an IoT, which is part of it, which can bring us to that automation. Basically, Pritush Bhaiya also said about IoT. So what is IoT? IoT stands for Internet of Things. Basically, it is everything that is connected to internet and that has a Wi-Fi support. Your phone, your Alexa, Google Home, anything that comes in that range is IoT. So this is the first and most wonderful implementation of ROS. As ROS is not just a software or not just a simulation in which you can program your robot and run it. ROS is something like you could build a whole software on it, whole software for your own robot and control it. Then, for example, this is a slide belonging to that example that ROS loves IoT. So how this helps us? Suppose we want to automate our drone and we want to make our drone to go from one point to other point and give us its current status. So how can we do it? The drone is in the sky and we are on the ground, and we also require very high power of computation for that. So this is where IoT comes in play. That is, our drone could send data to our computer, which is connected to internet, obviously, and all the calculations will be held in our computer and then sent again to drone so that it could follow a certain path. And that's how we can bring automation to drone rather than just controlling it with our controllers or something like that. So I think you understand that. Now next slide, please, Somnath. So basically there are three major uses or three major reasons for using ROS. The first is it is modular, that is you didn't require to code everything. Second is it's sync, that it is sync with many big things such as IoT and also the other things like that that you will learn later. And the third thing is it's community. Community means there are thousands of people who are working around the world to just implement a single task. So when you have to do something in your project or something like that, in building a drone or in automating your drone, then the community come into play. That is, you didn't have to bother about every small and small details of our drone. We only have to do just what we want to do in our project, or what we want to do something new in our project, and we could take all the old things such as all the implementation type of things that have been done already from this community. And being a part of such a large community, we are very we can say that we are very helpful, or we are very helpful for that, so that such that we have such a large community in our ROS section. And next slide please. Now we have talked very much about what ROS can do and how does it do. So now it's first time to show how what ROS actually do. So here you can say a GIF is displayed on the presentation. That is a robotic arm picking a box from the shelf and putting into the bin. So you would say that where it is simple, it is just an animation. So what is different in it? So let me tell you what's the catch here. Here we have used MoveIt, one of the framework of ROS. Now we didn't program this bot to go to a pathway and pick up that bot and go from other pathway and drop it in the bin. We have just give it command that you have to put the box from the shelf and put it in the bin, and all the type of calculations, that is at which angle it should move to avoid collisions with anything in the environment, is done by robot itself. And that is the real beauty of ROS. And this is what we call modulation, in the sense that is we didn't have to bother about everything, that how should our robot should move and how should each and every motor should move, or each and every actuator should move. We are only focusing on what we have to do, and everything is done by our ROS system. And here what the community plays a big role. So I guess you understand that. Now I would like to I would like to say Somnath to explain the other slides.
Yes. Thank you, Vishnu and Yash, for a good brief of ROS. For everyone else, do listen to this. This is what ROS basically is, because I know a lot of you have no good idea about programming or simulator or anything such. So this is for just to get the basics out. Next, I would say I would continue with the other presentation showcasing the implementation and the hardware. Yeah, so basically, I guess you see the modular nature of ROS everywhere now. You can see this bot on your right. This bot is named Turtlebot. It's the most famous bot in the ROS community, and you can see it's very modular. You can add in stuff, and hence you can add in more new technology to this. This is basic idea of ROS. That is, you can make technologies accessible to everyone. And when you add in the new hardware, the sensor data or all the data just plots into your ROS system. That is your laptop. It just comes in here and it just plots it and showcases you. So this is the very easy way of doing it, and ROS helps a lot in this. Now, what I would like to show further is some of the implementations. These are the implementation that we at AMC have done in this year and the previous years. This is basically to showcase what ROS is capable of and what you should be expecting from the club. That is, these particular projects are going on, and you could join these for improving it or giving a new idea and so forth. So without wasting any time, let's start with drone simulations. Now I believe you did see the gazebo simulator. This is the same gazebo simulator, but rendering 3 different drones at the same time. Here the basic idea was swarm drones, that is drones trying to follow paths with respect to or with keeping in mind that there are other drones near it. And really implementing it directly on a real world situation would be very messy because they may collide into each other and you're just losing money. So it's very, very important for you to use a simulator like Gazebo, which gives accurate modeling of the world, and hence you can deploy it just with the push of a button. That is the most easiest process you can do, and ROS helps you in that. Next, I would go into the hardware. Here you can see this is the turtle board, and I believe you did see a few slides before a turtle board which was more complex and more blackish and more cool than what I've made here. This is something that I made back home, and here you can see this doesn't resemble a lot. It just has few components, but you know what? I didn't have to code even a line to get it working. I guess you can see behind, it just maps the bot as it is in the real world situation. It doesn't need any extra lines of code from my side. So it's simply a plug and play solution. And this is really, really important for a beginner like you who may not know Arduino, who may not know some other part, but ROS is always there to help you. Next, this is the most coolest part of every beginner I have ever seen, every fresher I have ever seen, machine learning. Now I believe a lot of you have heard of what machine learning is. Now what machine learning is basically is it's a way of making machines smart or taking intelligent choices or decisions. Now fine, it's nice that we can control our drones, but who is deciding how it should move or what angle it should tilt or anything as simple as that? So we would need some machine learning algorithms to do that. But the fact that machine learning algorithms are not easy to run. You cannot run a machine learning algorithm on a small drone that you can see here, up here. It can't run on that small space because it's computationally bounded. So you would need a beefier computer, which I can't show it here, but it's on the side of it, which is doing all the lot of computations, and it's trying to capture the drone. It's trying to move the drone with respect to what my hand pose is. You can see my hand here, and you would need some pose estimator algorithm which estimates the pose of my hand and hence sends the same to the drone, hence able to pull off the trick. Now to run this you would need a beefy system, but that wouldn't be on your drone. Hence parallel computing is something that comes into mind, and ROS is really one that strives at doing so. This is an industrial standard method, and hence it is accessible to beginners and students like us. So this is how ROS would help you. Next, I would like Rudresh to go in detail about computer vision algorithms. And thank you from my side.
Now Rudresh will tell you about computer vision. Rudresh.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Good evening, guys. I am Rudresh Gupta from Chemical Engineering Part 2. Today I am going to introduce you to computer vision. Basically, computer vision आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस का ही एक फील्ड है जिसमें हम कंप्यूटर को ट्रेन कर सकते हैं ताकि वो अपने आसपास की चीज़ों को, विजुअल चीज़ों को देख सके और उसके अकॉर्डिंग रिएक्ट कर सके। कंप्यूटर विजन टोटली डिजिटल इमेज पे ही काम करता है। वो डिजिटल इमेज को यूज़ करता है, उस पर डीप लर्निंग टेक्निक अप्लाई करता है और कुछ आउटपुट जनरेट करता है, यूज़फुल आउटपुट। कंप्यूटर विजन में बहुत सारे मेथड यूज़ होते हैं, जैसे प्रोसेसिंग, एनालाइजिंग एंड अंडरस्टैंडिंग इमेज। इसके हेल्प से हम लोग इमेज को क्लासीफाई कर सकते हैं, ऑब्जेक्ट डिटेक्शन कर सकते हैं कि अगर इमेज में कहीं कोई ऑब्जेक्ट है तो वो कहाँ पे है। बेसिकली हम लोग यूज़ करते हैं फेस अनलॉक। फेस अनलॉक भी कंप्यूटर विजन का ही पार्ट है। उस फेस अनलॉक में भी सारे लोग यूज़ किए ही होंगे तो वो रिलेट कर पा रहे होंगे। पहले जब कैमराज नहीं बने थे तो उस टाइम फोटोज लेना ही बहुत बड़ा डिफ़िकल्ट टास्क माना जाता था, लेकिन आजकल वो बहुत इजी टास्क है। और उस कंपैरिजन में कि कंप्यूटर को वो हम लोग समझा सके कि एक्चुअली उस फोटो में है क्या। तो इस और कि आप देख सकते हैं कि लेफ़्ट साइड में जो फोटो है वो ऐसा फोटो है जो ह्यूमंस जो देखते हैं, और राइट साइड में वो पार्ट है जो कंप्यूटर उस फोटो को कैसे देखता है। ये मैट्रिक्स है, इतना बड़ा मैट्रिक्स है, लेकिन ये अभी बहुत छोटे से पार्ट, इमेज के बहुत छोटे से पार्ट को रिप्रेजेंट कर रहा है। और एक बड़े से इमेज को रिप्रेजेंट करने के लिए बहुत बड़ी मैट्रिक्स होती है और इसमें बस नंबर्स होते हैं। तो इस पे डीप लर्निंग टेक्निक्स यूज़ करके कंप्यूटर मशीन्स कुछ आउटकम निकालते हैं कि एक्चुअली उस फोटो में क्या है, और कई सारे फोटो है तो उसको क्लासिफाई कर सकते हैं। और अब है एप्लीकेशन पार्ट इसका। तो इसके बहुत सारे एप्लीकेशन हैं कंप्यूटर विजन के, मैंने कुछ मेंशन किए हैं, जिसमें पहला है गेस्चर कंट्रोल ड्रोन। गेस्चर कंट्रोल ड्रोन हमारे एएमसी में भी बन रहा है, वो ऑनगोइंग प्रोजेक्ट में से एक है। बेसिकली इसमें हम क्या करेंगे कि जो ड्रोन होता है उसको कंट्रोल करने के लिए हमें ट्रांसमीटर नहीं यूज़ करना होगा। ड्रोन में कैमरा लगा होगा जो अपने सामने के लाइव इनपुट को ले रहा होगा, उसके सामने जो खड़ा होगा वो अपने हाथ के गेस्चर से इनपुट दे सकता है। मतलब जैसे कि पाम दिखा रहा है, फिस्ट दिखा रहा है, थम्स अप दिखा रहा है, विक्ट्री सिंबल दिखा रहा है, उसके अकॉर्डिंग ये सब वो दिखाएगा और ये ड्रोन उसको कैप्चर करेगा कि वो क्या दिखा रहा है। और हर एक गेस्चर के करस्पॉन्डिंग एक एक्शन हम लोग प्री डिफाइंड रहेगा। जैसे कि पाम दिखाया तो वो टेक ऑफ करेगा, फिस्ट दिखाया तो लैंड करेगा। ऐसे ही हर गेस्चर के करस्पॉन्डिंग एक एक्शन फिक्स रहेगा, उसके हम लोग बस अपने हाथों से ही ड्रोन को कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं। और दूसरा ह्यूमन पोज एस्टिमेशन बेसिकली एक एस्टिमेशन एल्गोरिथम है जिसमें बॉडी के कॉन्फ़िगरेशन को कि कितने अच्छे से इतने लोगों का एक साथ बॉडी के कॉन्फ़िगरेशन को ट्रैक कर रहा है और कंटिन्यूअस ट्रैक किए करते ही रह रहा है। तो एक बहुत अच्छा एल्गोरिथम है जो यूज़ होता है, और इस एल्गोरिथम को हम लोग गेस्चर कंट्रोल ड्रोन में यूज़ करेंगे हैंड पोज को एस्टिमेट करने के लिए। और यहाँ बाकी सारे जो एप्लीकेशन है वो नाम से ही क्लियर है, मैं बस एक बार पढ़ते रहा हूँ, किसी को कोई डाउट हो तो वो पूछ सकता है। फेस डिटेक्शन, ह्यूमन काउंटिंग, ऑब्जेक्ट रिकॉग्निशन एंड ट्रैकिंग यूजिंग ड्रोन्स, ऑब्स्टिकल डिटेक्शन एंड कोलिजन अवॉइडेंस टेक्नोलॉजी, इमोशन रिकॉग्निशन थ्रू फेस एक्सप्रेशन, building a QR scanner and making Harry Potter invisible globe. Just कंप्यूटर विजन के लिए हम लोग जो कोड लिखते हैं, जो भी करते हैं, वो हम लोग एक OpenCV की लाइब्रेरी यूज़ करते हैं। इसमें बहुत सारे प्री डिफाइंड फंक्शन हैं, बहुत सारे एल्गोरिथम पहले से लिखे हुए हैं जिसके हेल्प से हम लोग बहुत इजीली अपना काम कर सकते हैं। ये ओपन सोर्स लाइब्रेरी है और ये सारे मैक्सिमम सारे लैंग्वेजेस में अवेलेबल है, लेकिन AMC में इसको पाइथन में यूज़ करते हैं। हाँ बोलो।
प्लीज लास्ट वन वो हैरी पॉटर वाला डिफाइन करिए थोड़ा।
हैरी पॉटर में जैसे तुम लोगों ने देखा था कि वो क्लोक ओढ़ता था तो वो इनविजिबल हो जाता था। तुम लोग बेसिकली OpenCV से ये खुद घर पे बना सकते हो कि जैसे कि ग्रीन कपड़ा ले लो या कोई भी रेड ले लो, रेड कपड़ा में कोई एक डिस्टिंग्विशेबल कलर का कपड़ा ले लो और उसमें उसको इनविजिबल हो सकते। OpenCV की हेल्प से वो तुम कोड लिख सकते हो, बहुत ईजी है। तुम जब हैरी पॉटर देखे होगे तो ये लगता होगा क्या हो रहा है, लेकिन जब एक्चुअली में तुम इसको ट्राई करोगे बनाना तो ये बहुत ईजी है बनाना। बेसिकली वो क्या करता था, जितने दूर अगर ग्रीन क्लॉथ आ रहा है, जितने दूर वो इमेज में अगर तुम ग्रीन कपड़ा ओढ़ रहे हो तो जितने दूर ग्रीन पिक्सल होंगे उसको वो हटा देगा और पीछे बैकग्राउंड के पिक्सल से रिप्लेस कर देगा। तो बेसिकली तुम्हारा इमेज जितने दूर वो कपड़ा रहेगा वो हट जाएगा, तो लगता है कि आदमी इनविजिबल हो गया। बस और किसी को कोई?
थैंक यू।
तो भैया
हाँ,
तो जो पीछे वाला जो बैकग्राउंड है वो विजिबल कैसे होता था जब इंसान खड़ा है? तो
वो
पीछे
पहले
वाला
से तुमको
जो
लेना पड़ेगा, वो पहले से तुमको सेव करके रखना पड़ेगा। और बाकी कोई डाउट हो तो तुम लोग लास्ट में अच्छे से पूछ सकते हो, तो हम अच्छे से बता देंगे ब्रीफ में। अभी आगे कंटिन्यू करते हैं।
लोगों को इंटरप्ट हो रहा हो तो प्लीज यू कैन
हाँ
दिस क्वेश्चन एट द एंड ओनली।
यस, थैंक यू दिस इज इट फ्रॉम माय साइड। थैंक यू।
Thank you, Team Area Robotics, for such a wonderful presentation. And I request all the freshers, if they have any doubts, they can post it in the chat box. We will clear all your doubts. Please don't unmute your mic again and again. It's disturbing. Now I welcome Team SAE. They will present their work. Team SAE.
Okay. So good evening, Pachu. I am Abhishek Chauhan from the RC Plane community. Today we will be briefing you about the two most important events which comes every year in our club. That is the SAE event and the RC model, electric model fabricating. So let's get started with the SAE event. The later RC model aircraft will be discussed by will be given description by Gyanendra, followed by Sunny, and then Deepak. So let's get started with the SAE part. Okay, so is the screen visible to you?
Yes, it's visible. It's visible. Abhishek.
Okay. Okay, so if you have any doubt in the middle of my presentation, you can just ping me, okay? Okay, so what is SAE first of all? Yeah.
Okay.
Gyanendra, SAE. Yeah. So what is SAE? So as the full form of SAE stands for Society of Automotive Engineers, and it's an organization which conduct a series of events ranging from automobile to aerospace sector. As we are more inclined towards aerofield, so we generally participate in SAE Aero Design event, which is held both nationally and globally. So let's move further. What does the event include? What are the things we need to do in the event? So SAE Aero Design. So the main intention of the event is making undergraduate students like us to face real life engineering problems and applying our analyticals, designing and simulation skills all at the same time to make such a potential model to capable of performing severe tasks. So it challenges us to build such a model to meet their mission requirements at any cost. One who does wins the round. So you can see here is the pictorial representation of our model. So we participated in the year 2019. That was our first time, and we backed fourth position. And let me tell you one more thing about us, that we did this under just under 21 days. And trust me, it's very difficult to make such a efficient model in 21 days. It usually requires 3 to 4 months. As you can see here, our model. Here is the IIT BHE logo, and this is our team Indiza logo, and this is the SAE India poster in which we have participated. We have developed a wing platform. Wing platform is is the geometry of wing. We will be discussing about further in the workshop. So this is the wing platform. It has a name, special name called Skewman. We have winglets attached, and the whole model is made up of balsa wood, which is lighter and very much efficient while making it. And you can see the motors and the servo motors which are mounted to this plane are such that we can achieve our calculated thrust and servo torque. All of the things are calculated initially for whenever a design layout is done for our this type of model. We usually calculate all type of what should be the thrust to weight ratio and what should be the servo torquing. So this is our final model which we have played in the event, and you can too be a part of a team. So what does the competition involves? So SAE Aero Design consists of two type of events, which is regular and micro. So regular class consists of lifting as much payload as possible. So what do you mean by payload? Can anyone explain me what is the meaning of payload? Anyone?
It is the mass
or weight which the plane can
lift
hold.
capacity.
The maximum mass it
Yeah.
can carry.
Yeah, the mass it can carry. So this was our first objective in the regular class, that how much maximum payload can it be lifted. And the second class of event consists of the payload fraction. What do you mean by payload fraction? Payload fraction means the our payload mass divided by our empty weight. So if the overall payload fraction is higher, so we will easily can achieve in top 3 position. So here and it's not easy to make such a model. We have constraints too given by our events. Constraint includes dimension, weight, materials. So constraint also you can see here is a pictorial representation of the dimension constraints. You can see a wingspan is so long. We can even make such long wingspan and make it fly in the event, but it is strictly restricted. Now, what is the advantages of such a long wingspan? Can anyone guess what can be some of the
It
advantages
will
of some
glide
such?
easily.
Yeah,
It will glide easily.
yeah, it will glide easily. You're right. It will increase the overall lift capacity of the plane and the overall coefficient of lift because the wingspan is increased and the aspect ratio is increased. What is aspect ratio? Aspect ratio is nothing but the wing geometry parameter. Okay. And so here is the material construction constraints. You can see here the fuselage is made up of carbon fiber rod. We can even use this, but and if you use this carbon fiber rod, then our drag, our overall model drag can be drastically decreased. But they are putting constraint here too because it's expensive. So they have a lot of constraints in cost and all this stuff. Moving forward, that how we can achieve such an efficient model to perform such a severe task, we have under the name Shastra. Shastra means weapon. And what are the Shastra we have? We have our basic understanding and the concepts of aerodynamics, which you will be learning in the further workshop, and the advanced aerodynamic theories, which you will be extracting from our recommended fundamentals books. Books includes J.D. Anderson, RC, Model Aircraft, Lennon, Raymer. Have anyone seen this book before? This type of books?
No. No, bhaiya.
Okay, so you will be learning. If you are interested in knowing more about the aerodynamic concept, you are free to go with this book. And then we have software. Software includes 3D modeling and simulations. So 3D modeling. Coming to 3D modeling, we can't make our rough sketch on a paper and make our airplane fly in an event. So we need a proper 3D modeling software, CAD, that is computer aided software. So we'll be discussing further what are the 3D modeling we will going to use. And then second, we have the simulation. We also have to do the simulation before our final model is ready, so that we can calculate its lift value, drag value, that how much payload it can lift and how much is the drag being created, so that to meet a proper system mission requirement. So what do you mean by simulation? Simulation means creating a real world environment virtually and testing its effect on aircraft model. Can anyone explain me what is the how can simulation help us to make a model? Like in aerial robotic, Somnath and team they have already discussed about simulation. Can anyone just recap what is simulation and how does it help?
It helps to test whether the model that we have created will be able to work in the actual real life conditions or not, so that we won't be wasting too much time and money.
Yeah, that's an excellent
in simulation
point.
we just try to create the similar environment or similar types of stuff which it would be countering in real life, and test it out so that it doesn't fail when we actually make the model and make it fly.
Yeah, truly this is what I was
learn from the mistakes.
Yeah. So the main important thing is that we can save our model being crashed, and then we can save a lot of money from this also. So we can also see that large scale models are also tested before they are made. Like just Boeing company and the Lockheed Martin company, these all sort of company test their fighter jets and all sort of passenger planes by making their smaller scale model and testing in wind tunnel testing and all sort of simulation software. So we'll look further what are the simulation software which are included for making such a model. So there are two types of simulation software. One is the XFLR5 and the second is ANSYS. So we'll discuss more about what is XFLR5. So XFLR5 is a software, it's an analysis tool. We'll use this software to make an early initial estimation that which will be our best airfoil, best shape of airfoil to meet our mission profile, mission requirement. And this software is low size, it doesn't require too much high-end system, and it's computationally fast too. So it's easy to simulate in this software. And as you can see here, there are two graphs. The one with the blue curve is an airfoil named S1223, and the second is the red airfoil, is the red curve named S1210. What I'm saying, this S1210 and S1223, this is the name of the airfoil. Every airfoil, every design of an airfoil has a name. Okay, just like we have a NACA series and then we have Glen Martin. You will be much familiar in the coming workshop why we are giving such names to the airfoil. So we can do a series of analysis of this airfoil and make best of out of it, that which airfoil will be best for our model. Then comes the ANSYS. So ANSYS is a simulation software for aircraft model, and further analysis of full 3D wing is done in ANSYS, and it is known for its accuracy. It gives a lot more accuracy while calculating lift and drag values, and maybe it any aerodynamic force, maybe it coefficient of moment, maybe it any damn parameter. It gives us just an accurate value, and we can also do a full aircraft model analysis on ANSYS. You can see here, I'm playing a video here. Here I've created a flow model. You can see a particle is striking the whole 3D wing, and this sort of diverging when it passes over the airfoil. You can see I'm playing once again. Yeah. So these are the airflow particles. We can change the flow parameters. So what are the flow parameters? Flow parameters includes the airstream velocity, its turbulent intensity. Does anyone know what is turbulence in the air? Have you ever traveled in a passenger aircraft? When the aircraft dips, when there is a turbulence, like it vibrates.
Gutters in the road.
Vibration in plane.
Yeah. You must have experienced that. So that is what a turbulent intensity is. So we can set that too in this ANSYS, and we can make a real simulation, real environment simulation, and calculate our lift and drag value, so that we can do an estimation that how much payload it can carry, how much payload our aircraft can carry, so that we can make a final model of our aircraft. So where do we make all such models? Whenever our design layout is completed, then we generally do modeling, 3D modeling in CATIA. It's a software by Dassault company. Software name is CATIA V5. We do all the designing part in this software. You can see here we have made a full 3D wing. It's a tapered wing, and you can see we can also install a lot more detailed here. There are spars here, and we can do a much detailed dimensioning here also. So 3D modeling is very much essential to finalize our design layout. And then next, moving to our interest part. So you must have wondered why such wing design, why only we are selecting such materials to minimize our weight, why only this airfoil, why only such dimensioning of wing fuselage tails. So can anyone tell me which aircraft is this? This is very famous
B2
aircraft.
bomber.
B2
Spirit.
Spirit. Yeah, it has created history over the aviation, and it has changed the aviation phase also. And the first flight of it was done in past 30 years. So it was designed by America. And you can see it's a flying wing model. It has only wing. It has no fuselage. The cockpit is installed over the fuselage, and you can see the zigzag designing here. This all designings are not just for fashion. They are meant for minimizing drag and making the overall plane lift efficient, though they have more of advanced technologies like radar technology, because it's a stealth aircraft. So it has also what they have discussed in aerial robotics. They have all these technologies, but the design part is much more efficient, because it is creating more lift and less drag. So you can too be in a part of a team if you are more enthusiastic towards this such type of concepts, and you are looking forward that I can innovate such type of models, and I can learn such type of software. Then you are truly welcome in our club, and I will be now handling over the mic to our senior. He's the coordinator of SAE, Mayank Chandra. Mayank bhaiya.
Hello everyone. I'm Mayank Chandra, Part 3 Electrical Engineering, and I'm currently managing all these SAE stuff. So basically, what Abhishek told you, that's what we do, and we have this team called Team Indiza, and we participate each year in SAE Aero competition. at the national level. This year we couldn't do that because of this pandemic, but we're researching on more efficient wing designs. So yeah, that's it. We'll be starting the recruitment for Team Indiza using an online test followed by an interview. So if anyone is interested in working with us and you know you want to learn more about it, you want to pursue some higher degrees in aerodynamics, then this is the right place to be. That's it. Thanks.
Bhaiya, is there any prerequisite for this that you should be in mechanical or electrical branch or any branch is fine?
In this, mostly, yeah, I mean, like, there will be several branch projects, like your specific branch projects where you'll be designing some stuff. So mechanical and civil will have some benefits over the other because you're going to learn a few softwares like ANSYS or maybe SolidWorks or CATIA in your second or third year. Otherwise, it's open for all. And we also have other parts like the electronics and propulsion team inside our SAE Aero. They manage all those stuff. So electrical, electronics, chemical. It's not branch specific. Anyone can join. And there
How
is
will we join?
You will be it's going to be an online test, I guess, followed by an interview. Okay.
Yes, Via. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Mayank bhai. Thank you, Mayank bhai. That's it from the
What
SAE
is
team.
it for?
What will be
There are
asked
no
for the online test?
We'll share you that later. We'll only ask the basics of aerodynamics and all, not anything really tough. And we'll also share you some study material for that as well, from which you can refer and answer.
Thank you,
There
SAE.
are no prerequisites for this thing. You can just start from scratch and we'll teach you everything.
Thank you, thank you, SAE team, for your wonderful presentation. In the chat box, I have posted our Facebook page and Instagram page link. So all the freshers do follow it and like it. Now I invite Sunny. He will brief you about the hovercraft. Sunny.
I am audible.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, let me present.
Okay, meanwhile Sunny is he's preparing the workshop. So can anyone tell me what are the applications of drones? Some applications.
Fighter.
It can be used for security purposes. We can use them for surveillance purposes, so that even though
and for transporting various small items as according to the capacity.
Drone taxi.
Photography.
Okay.
We can use kamikaze attacks.
Okay. Right.
Research research purposes over
drones are the
places.
future because humans cannot do long time things in fighters, and also in defense sector drones are the future.
Okay, so you are all right.
Maybe traveling to the places where we
Yes,
can't reach.
In recent war of Armenia and Azerbaijan, Turkish drones are used in large number.
Kamikaze drones.
Okay, you can all comment in the comment section your ideas. Meanwhile, let the Sunny present his hovercraft.
Bhaiya, my slide is visible.
Yes, you are visible.
Okay. So, hi everyone. This is Sunny from second year. So, In this orientation program, I will give a very short brief about what is hovercraft, about its working and its parts. So let's begin with our first slide. What is hovercraft? Hovercraft is basically a vehicle that have some parts of plane, some parts of helicopter, some parts of boat. So you can say it is all in one vehicle. It was first invented in 1959 by Christopher Cochrane. Due to its various properties, we can say it can fly like a plane, float like a boat, and can be drive like a car. So again, moving to our next slide. Types of hover. Okay, wait, I forget to tell you that hovercraft can run everywhere on land, on water, even in air, but not like a plane or helicopter. So types of hovercraft. So in the first picture, as you can see, flying hovercraft. As you can see, it has wings that helps it to fly, and it can also run on water as well. In the second picture, hovercraft running on water, and in the third picture, hovercraft running on land. So so our next slide is so why hovercraft? Okay, let's think a river which has different water beds or levels. So can we able to run our boat over it? So obviously no, because it gets stuck because the water level is not enough. But hover can easily run over it because it runs on it needs only the surface. It's not going. It runs over the surface. Moreover, hover provides a very less drag friction as it float on air. But in case of boat, some parts lie below water. That provides much drag friction. Now, again, consider a case if there is a bog type of land like what we call daldal in Hindi, then we cannot land our plane or helicopter there, but hover can float on that bog surface very easily. Also, hover can drive easily on sand. So moving to our next slide. So yeah, these are the some picture of hovercraft made by us during our first year for competition that was held in our college. In other IITs also competition held for hovercraft. So as you can see in these two pictures, first and the second one, the difference between the first and second is that the first one is only it can move only in the forward direction, but the second one it can move forward as well as backward. So and this part is called propeller. It is used for the forward and the backward movement. And this part you are seeing in the picture, this is a fan. It is used for making the cushion. Cushion makes the hovercraft to float on air. So that's why it offers very less drag or friction. So this blue part you are seeing, these are the air cushions. So, and below the fan here you can see fan. Below the fan there is a holes and white things. These are called skirts. Later on we will discuss about it. Let's move our next slide. So real and self-made hovercraft.
Excuse me, bhaiya.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I'm not able to access the chat box. So,
Okay.
is there anything
Maybe
that
there is a no. I think there may be internet connectivity issue from your side.
No, there is not that. There should be that option, that icon beside the participants and raise hand. Those two icons are there, but the
Your
chat box
request to
is
join
not.
team is not accepted.
Okay.
So, I did not get any that link. I got this meetings link, direct link to the meeting in the group which I am
Okay.
there. Senior has only posted this link for the meeting.
Oh. So you have any doubt? Or you want something?
No, this is the problem. Like that chat box, I'm not able to access.
So
But
so I cannot do anything. Let others see what if he possible and they can help you.
If you have
Okay.
any problem, you can say now, right?
Okay, Sunny, continue.
भैया ये खाली आगे पीछे ही जा सकता है, लेफ्ट राइट नहीं जा सकता?
No, left right के लिए yes, it can move left right. By we can by controlling this propeller speed. So both by like you have to move left. So then you have to okay.
For left, you have to make one block. One motor will have to run faster than in comparison to the other, right? I mean, if you want to take a turn, then one motor have to be faster. Are you getting my point or not?
Yes, भैया.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes,
according to
getting.
you can say that you are taking left or right. So according to your motor rotation, this will be decided.
Okay.
हाँ भैया.
Okay, you got it. So what was I explaining? Real and self-made hovercraft. So what is the difference between two? The working principle of both is same. The only difference is that the real hovercraft use gas turbine or engine, but in our hovercraft we use brushless motors. These two are the brushless motors, and batteries and transmitters and receiver for controlling purpose. Okay. Our next slide is about working and its working and the parts of hovercraft. So working, well, it's working. I have already explained. See, there are only main three parts. The first one is a propeller. Propeller basically pushes the air behind, thus the hovercraft moves. And second one is fan. The fan, the main purpose of the fan is to make the air cushion. So hover can lift up, and so it makes the hover to float on air. So when the propeller provides thrust, it moves very easily ahead. The last one is escort. The main function of the escort is to overcome the obstacle. The higher the escort, the larger the obstacle hovercraft can overcome. So you can see this is the escort. This whole thing is escort. And moving to our last slide, advantages of hovercraft. As I told you earlier, that hover can run everywhere on any surfaces. It can travel with same speed in upstream as well as in downstream. So there is no problem of a river current. And hovercraft is a very fuel efficient. It consumes 70% less fuel than petrol boat with a similar payload capacity. So I hope you must get an idea about hovercraft. So this is for it. Okay, I am done.
Thank you, Sunny. Now Abhishek will brief you about the plane. Sunny, sorry, Abhishek.
So the plane, it will be described by Gyanendra. Yeah.
Abhishek, keep it short because some freshies are leaving, right?
Yeah, Gyanendra will start. It will be Gyanendra will be starting, then followed by Deepak and then Sunny. Okay, Gyanendra, go for it.
Okay, fine. So let me present my screen.
Yeah, I've already presented Gyanendra.
Okay. Fine.
Visible, right?
I guess it's not visible.
No, it's not.
It's not visible.
It's not visible. Okay, I'm sharing once again. There you go. Okay, is it now visible?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, it's visible. Yeah. Fine, perfectly fine. Okay, so myself, Gyanen Singh from Civil Engineering, Part 2.
So,
I guess Abhishek has...
listen. There are two Gyanendra, one from third year electrical, and there is another Gyanendra
Yes.
from civil second year, right?
Yeah, we are having two.
Don't be confused.
Okay, so myself, Gyanen from second year, Civil Engineering. So Abhishek has talked a lot of technical stuff, I guess, regarding RC planes and SAE. Many of you, I think, might be facing some problems, I guess. So let's start from the scrap. Let me acquaint you with the basic technicalities of an RC aircraft. See, basically, there are two types of aircraft, RC aircrafts. One is the electrical one, and the other which runs on fuels, like as such passenger aircrafts, which we use, that runs on fuels. And the one which we are discussing right now, that will be an electrical aircraft. So let's dive deep into the world of aero modeling. Next slide. Okay, so many of you might be having a myth. I don't know if it is there or not, but seriously, I was having this myth in the first year when I was a fresher, and my seniors were doing the orientation. That if you just take a stick and a flat rectangular plate which resembles a wing, and you just mount that plate on the stick and make it fly like a paper airplane. I guess I thought that it would fly a long distance, and that is what an RC aircraft. But sorry, my friends, it's not that. It's not. It's completely not that. You can see the image that that's what will happen if you think like that, similar to me. So next slide. Let's begin. Let's actually RC aircraft model. So we'll discuss the process involved in making the RC aircraft model. For that, I guess you should know the basics, very basics of the aerodynamics. That is the normal thrust, lift, and the weight. These are the normal forces, which we'll discuss in the later workshops. That is the very basics which are required for constructing an RC aircraft model. Now, the airfoils which we select, they are designed in various PC softwares. Some of them have been mentioned, I guess two, Xfoil and NASA's airfoil designer have been mentioned here. So as you all are beginners, so we'll be using NASA's designer for designing our airfoils. See, the entire agenda, the entire purpose of building an RC aircraft model is that we have to maximize, it's written, if we have to maximize L by D ratio, where L stands for lift, D stands for drag. I'll let you know later what is lift and drag forces. So in the next slide, I'll let you know. Okay. Next slide, please. Yeah, here we can see the vertical force, this acting on the plane, this is known as lift. It provides the movement to the plane. This lift provides the upward movement, thrust, I guess thrust to the plane. And the drag, the direction of drag has not been shown here, but the drag acts opposite to the direction of motion. If the plane moves in the forward direction, then your drag will be acting in the backward direction. It is because of the friction force. As I said earlier, we have to maximize L by D ratio. Means we have to increase our lift as much as possible, and we have to minimize the drag force, because that is because of friction, and we don't want it actually. So there are many theories regarding the flight of an RC aircraft model. There are many theories. One of them is the lift theory, and the other can be a Conda effect.
See, one thing I'm repeating further, there are a lot of technical terms.
The lift theory is based on the Bernoulli's principle. Just a second, I guess. Yeah, I think there was an internet issue. So the lift theory, this is basically based on Bernoulli's principle. It states that the air, as you can see in the figure, there are these red and blue lines. These are the streamlines, I guess. Yeah, these are the streamlines. The blue streamlines, which flows on the upper surface of the aircraft, which you can see, it has to travel a larger distance as compared to the red streamline, which is on the lower surface. The surface of the wing is also called known as camber. So I'll be repeating the lines. The upper camber, the streamlines on the upper camber, they have to travel longer distance. And in this, due to this, you all know that according to Bernoulli's, the pressure will if the velocity is high. Hello? Hello? Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. If the velocity is higher, the pressure will be lower. Automatically, we know this. So at the upper camber, the velocity is high, the pressure is low, and at the lower camber, the velocity is low and the pressure is high, vice versa. So due to the pressure difference, there will be an upward force, and that force is known as lift. So this lift helps our plane to fly upwards. I guess it's clear for most of you. So now we'll be discussing about the various parts of an RC aircraft. Next slide, please. I guess next slide, Abhishek. Yeah. Parts of an RC aircraft. The red one, I guess the red one which you see, this is known as fuselage. This is the main body of an RC aircraft. This is called fuselage. And the white one, this is known as wing. You all know this, that it's a wing. And the red one, this is the fuselage. There are several other parts apart from this. So this one, this is the propeller, which propels the plane forward in the forward direction. And you can see the extended flaps at the rear end of the wings marked in green color. So these are the ailerons. These are called ailerons. Let me tell you all the extra flaps here. These are the flaps on the wings. These are known as ailerons. And at the rear end of the plane, we are also having some flaps marked in green, you can see. So these are known as elevator. Okay. And on the vertical side at the rear, you can see the flaps. They are known as rudders, all having their different functions. They control the various pitch movement, yaw movement, and the roll movements. We'll talk about this in the later workshops in details. So for now, just remember what I told you. There's a lot of things mentioned here. So the most important ones are that the red one, this body is the fuselage, and this white one, this is your wing. And the extended flaps of the wings, they are known as ailerons. And at the rear end, the extended flaps are the elevators. And the vertical one on the rear end, this is known as rudder. So this is the basic part. I guess you would remember this. I just talked about the basics. So now Deepak will be handling over from the next slides. So I request Deepak to take over the control.
Okay. Abhishek, next slide. Hi guys, I am Deepak Kumar Meena from Civil Engineering Part 2. I will discuss about fabrication and electronic setup. Firstly, I will discuss about fabrication. Okay. Fabrication में हम generally discuss करेंगे कि जो हम plane बनाते हैं उसको किस material से बनाते हैं. So we can divide it plane mainly in two parts. First part is wings and second part is fuselage. For make wings, we use generally styrofoam, Dapron, and balsa. What is styrofoam? Styrofoam basically compressive form of thermocol, so its strength is very good. Strength of balsa, Dapron less than as compared to styrofoam, so we should use styrofoam for our first flight. Abhishek, please next slide. Now I will discuss about the electronic setup which is in RC plane. Firstly, I will discuss about the motor. Motor generally installed in front of fuselage, and basically it's provide the thrust of plane. Second part is motor, servo motor. Servo motor provide basically movement of plane, like left right turn and yaw motion up down of plane, and it connect directly by receiver. Okay. Third part is receiver. Basically receiver receives signal from the transmitter and sent to component installed in aircraft like servo motor, main motors, etc. Fourth is transmitter. Transmitter send signal or message to receiver, and receiver send it to component installed in the aircraft. We can say that a transmitter used for control the aircraft. Okay. Okay, thank you for my side. From here, Sunny will be continue. Sunny?
Yeah. Thank you, Deepak. Hi, everyone. I am Sunny from second year. So I will begin with a question. What will you do next when you made your first plane? So I think the answer is 100% sure that you will go to take flight. But wait, you are not going to take flight, because first you have to do practice on the flight simulator. As you can see in the picture, this is the software that we should use for it. This is the Phoenix RC flight simulator, as you can see in the below picture. And then you are going to take your first real flight.
Sorry, 1 minute. First year कुछ ज्यादा हो रहा है क्या? First year.
नहीं भैया ठीक है सर।
मतलब किसी को दिक्कत है तो मतलब जल्दी से फिनिश कर सकते हैं। मतलब बहुत सारा टेक्निकल है, मतलब एक साल का काम है, तो मतलब you can understand, right?
No, it's fine. We are
sir.
okay.
It's fine, sir.
Okay. Now continue.
Okay, let's continue. So I am saying that you have to do first practice on the flight simulator, Phoenix RC flight simulator. Then you are going to take real flight.
Flight simulator use हो सकता है?
What?
Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Yeah, you can use any simulator. All are same. Just they are differ from user. Their interference may be different, and rest the things are same. Okay.
So basically अभी एक इवेंट होगा तुम लोगों का, मतलब जो प्लेन पे बेस्ड होगा। अभी मतलब इस टाइम में तो मतलब पॉसिबल नहीं है कि हम मतलब तुमसे बनवा दें डायरेक्टली। तो अभी हम क्या करेंगे कि सिमुलेटर पे एक तुम लोगों का कंपटीशन रखेंगे, और उसमें बेस्ट फ्लायर 3 बेस्ट फ्लायर को मतलब रिवार्ड दिलवाएंगे एसएनटीसी से।
भैया
ओके
भैया
हाँ या
can you say it in English? Sorry, I don't understand Hindi.
So I'm saying that there will be an event in which you will fly your airplane in a simulator. I mean, I'm talking about for this sim because this is online sim, right?
Yes.
So I'm saying for event, there will be an event on simulator. You will fly a plane, and the best 3 flyer will be rewarded.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't know how to use simulator.
Okay, this thing we will tell, na? I mean, this is just a orientation. Orientation means we are just touching all the things. We will go deep. We will go into deep in our further workshops. Okay.
Okay. Abhishek, please please move to the next slide. Abhishek, are you there? Yeah. So RC model. See, these are the some pictures made by us. These are the some models made by us. Except the last one. This is VTOL. We are currently working on it, and you can see these are some fixed wing, glider, and flying wing. And this is called VTOL because it takes vertical flight directly. So it's called VTOL. Abhishek, next slide, please.
Yeah.
So yeah, where do we perform? In all the IITs which have aerospace engineering branch, Boeing held national aero modeling competition there. Boeing is an American multinational company that manufactures planes, rockets, satellites, and much more things. So in your mind, question may arise that what we'll have to do in the competition, isn't it? The competition comprises of mainly 2 rounds, round 1 and round 2. So in first round, you have to carry maximum payload as much as your plane can lift, and you can control it properly. And after qualifying first round, you go to the second round where you have to drop maximum number of balls, golf balls with the within the target area. The target may be a circle or a box, and after that you have to make a smooth landing of your plane. Otherwise, points may be deducted. Abhishek, next slide, please. So till now we talk about only simple RC model, but I want to tell you that we are also working on project to integrate technology with RC plane. Like we are building autonomous plane, VTOL plane, and we are also thinking to integrate both plane and drone. So yeah, I am done. Okay.
Okay, so let me add more to it. We have performed in Boeing competition last year, and we were 5 for the team. And out of 5, we were 2 teams who qualified round 1, and we have won a cash prize of 5,000 rupees. You just need to like move your plane around the ground, and then you can easily win that prize, cash prize, and it's easy to for this competition. Okay, that's it from the RC plane community, and then I'm handing over the mic to Ayushi.
Thank you, RC plane community, for your wonderful presentation. So there are various events which will be conducted in our club. Some are Gaganyaan, Drone Tech, Hovercraft, and RC plane. Gyanendra Bhaiya have already explained these 4 events in the starting. So based on your performance in these events, your chances to become a part of this club will increase. So now I hand it over to Gyanendra Bhaiya. Gyanendra Bhaiya.
Yeah. So basically, I want to share one thing here, that the first event, Gaganyaan, which will be based on a rocket. Actually, you have to design a rocket in a simulator, and the one thing that you have learned in your GE time, which was rocket propulsion system, right? You all have learned one thing in GE time, rocket propulsion system, where you will learn that the system equation, which is governed basically by its velocity and its mass. So that equation will be used, and the problem state will be probably, I'm not releasing it officially, but probably it will be, you have to go to the Mars, and then will have to come back within minimum time. And I mean, the time should be minimum, and the fuel should also be minimum, and best 3 will be rewarded. Okay, so Ayushi, will there be any presentation for Gaganyaan?
Bhaiya, if there's time, we can have, or
okay, Gyanendra.
Gyanendra?
First year, are you willing to take one presentation for Gaganyaan?
Yeah, let me just.
Or are you done?
Yes.
Or are you done? Because number is regularly decreasing, right?
Yeah. As you say, as you wish, we can do it either way.
Okay, I mean, number is decreasing. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we can have a
presentation. Okay, so it will take only 3 minutes. Okay, Gyanendra, continue.
Okay. So let me share my screen. Yeah, is it visible?
No.
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 No, bhaiya.
No.
No.
Okay, just wait.
No.
You can share me. I can do it for you.
Yeah, I guess I'm facing some sharing issues. I guess it's sharing. Just wait, I'm sharing. Just stay tuned.
Gyanendra, should I share my screen?
Okay, fine. Shik, you can share.
Okay, I'm sharing now.
I'm having problem with my screen share.
Yeah, sure.
Abhishek.
Yeah,
Please
bhaiya.
don't,
Sharing on.
guys, for the time being. Just hold on.
Just wait a minute, guys. It's loading. Yeah, is it visible?
Yes,
Yeah,
bhaiya.
it's visible.
Yes.
It's visible.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yes.
as Gyanan Bhaiya mentioned that every year we organize an event, water rocket, but you know this year we are not in our college. So this year we are planning to organize another event, and we have titled it as Gaganyaan. I know it. I don't know if it seems great or not. So the tagline of the event goes like that: "Unleash the Kalams inside you." As the tagline says, it's basically you can get an idea, unleash the Kalams inside you. And that Kalam refers to our honorable president, APJ Abdul Kalam. He was a great scientist. So next slide. Let me just explain a quick recap, give you a quick recap. So let me give another brief outline. Again, we had already done earlier, but let me tell you once again. I guess you guys have to make virtual rockets through a simulator, and the problem statement would be possibly you have to fly from Earth to Mars and back to the Earth. So the one who would do this in shortest time successfully will be considered. And I think we'll be having prizes also for our winners and the first and second runner-ups from SNTC councils. So that was for the competition. But now let's get into a quick glimpse of how.
What are these
you
simulators?
all know this. So let's now get into how it works basically. What's the science behind it? So next slide.
Yeah, I think someone is asking question.
Yeah. Please. You can raise your hand if you want to ask something. Okay, for the time being, who is asking question, you can ask it. Let me explain it in a short brief. You all know this. Let's not get into the topic. Don't take it so seriously. It's mentioned rocket science. However, it's not. It's just a simple thing which you have studied in your 12th, 10 plus 2 levels. So let us consider if this is a rocket. The instantaneous mass of rocket, we consider it as M, capital M. You all know that the mass of the rocket in this case will vary because it is filled with all the fuels, and the propeller is ejecting gases at the same time. So the mass of the rocket will change with time. You all know this. So we are considering M as the full mass of the rocket along with the fuel which we have stored in it. And ME will be considered as the empty mass, that is the mass of the body of the rocket. And MP will be the mass of the propeller. I guess, yeah, MP is the mass of the propeller. So we are using just second law of Newton. According to second law, F is equals to dP by dt. So we are differentiating the results. This F is the thrust, or you can say it's the reaction force which acts on the rocket as a result of third law of Newton. As the gases are being ejected at a tremendous rate, so they are exerting a force downwards. So in result of it, as a third law of Newton, the force will be acting upwards. So this force will propel rocket to move in the upward direction. Fine. So this force is equals to V equivalent times d mp by dt. So V equivalent will be the mass of the exhaust velocity, means the velocity with which the rocket is ejecting the gases. The propeller is ejecting the gases. So dmp by dt, mp will be the mass of the propeller. So differentiating m du plus u dm is equals to V equivalent dmp. So if we consider that we are in the frame of reference of the rocket, that is we are moving with the rocket, so u will be 0. So ignoring this term, we get m du is equals to minus V equivalent dm. So how do we get the result? Minus times, that is mentioned here. Black mass of rocket varies with time. Mt is equals to empty mass me plus mp of t. Mp varies with time. We all know this, mass of propeller, because it is ejecting gases, so it varies with time. Differentiating, you get dm is equals to minus times dmp. So just substitute this and do the necessary integration. Limits from mf full mass to empty mass, because it's a minus sign. So at the end, see the result. The main result, which is here, we have delta u, that's change in velocity, will be equals to v equivalence times ln mf upon me. So now what's the thing to observe in this? A very interesting thing I would like to tell you, that delta u, that is the change in velocity, or you can say the final velocity, that will be directly proportional to, inversely proportional to the logarithmic of 1 upon me. That is the mass of the rocket. So me is the empty mass. This means you can deduce that if your rocket is as light as possible, your velocity will be as high as possible. So this, I guess, this is the key to your problem statement. For your question, that the mass of the rocket is, if it is as light as possible, the final velocity will be as more as possible. This is what we get from our result. This is the main. Final slide, Abhishek.
Yes.
Yeah. So you can, this is the basic second law of Newton variable mass system. You can also approach in the other way. If we, that is a rocket of mass m moving with a velocity v in delta t time constraint, a small time interval delta t, the mass of the m minus delta m, and and the velocity of the rocket, the velocity of the gas will be v minus delta v. In turn, the rocket will move with the velocity of delta v, increase in velocity v plus delta v. So using the equation of motions also, you can get the same result. Using the force equation, you can derive this result, which I've told you earlier. So it is basically the third law of action reaction. The rocket exits the gases at a high velocity. So in turn, the force, the reaction force, acts on from the center of mass of the rocket. That's all. That's all for the event. That's all for the science. Science. I mean, science. What we say, it can be said. As for the logic behind this statement, for now,
Okay.
Now we'll be organizing, if it is possible, we'll be organizing another workshop on it. The has already been you guys. So that's all from my point. It's over. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Gyanendra. Now it's end of our orientation. वैसे तो बहुत फॉर्मल हो गया है ऑनलाइन से हमें तो, बट वहाँ होते तो इतना फॉर्मल नहीं होता है. हम लोग बीच बीच में मजाक करते रहते हैं, एंड अभी बहुत सारी चीजें तुम लोगों के ऊपर से निकल गई होगी, सो डोंट टेक टेंशन. सारे इवेंट्स के पहले उनकी वर्कशॉप्स होगी, एंड वी विल टीच यू एवरीथिंग फ्रॉम स्क्रैच. ये हमारा एक फर्स्ट टाइम था, हम ऑनलाइन ओरिएंटेशन कर रहे हैं, सो वी हैव मेड मेनी मिस्टेक्स ऑल्सो. So I'm posting a feedback form in the chat box, so do fill that so we can improve. I have posted the feedback form, so do fill it. किसी senior को कुछ बोलना है?
Yeah, sure. We will share all the slides. Yeah, please do fill the feedback form.
Is there a WhatsApp group or something to get the links of the meetings which will take place further? Because today's meeting I received from another group, another student.
Yeah, there is. I mean, you won't be there, but I don't know how.
Yes, I want to be there.
So,
link is in the chat box.
Thank you.
Okay, so the first event will be Gaganyaan, in which you will make a robot in a simulator and will complete the PS. Okay. So I mean,
when it happens,
we will share on WhatsApp group. Or on our social pages too. We'll share on Facebook page. I will share on Poly on Instagram page, or we'll share on in our WhatsApp group too. So don't worry, you'll be notified. So, I mean, hello. Okay, so you in Gaganyaan you will have a direct application of second law, that you have already studied earlier, which was a rocket propulsion system, in which you have to think in a way, in a way, so that you will you could complete you can complete that PS with minimum fuel with minimum time. This is your problem, and we have already told you that equation. Okay.
भैया इसके लिए सिम्युलेटर कौन सा यूज करना है
We'll
गंगायान
tell you
के
this,
लिए?
right? We'll tell you.
Should we share the video of that? The
No,
Gaganyaan
I
simulator?
mean, there will be one half an hour workshop for that, right?
Okay.
You can find it
आज
out.
वाला स्लाइड शेयर कर देंगे.
Slide. We will share all the slides that has run today. All the slides will be shared. Don't worry. Okay. Please do fill the feedback form before leaving this meeting.
Yes, guys, we'll be organizing all a separate workshop, I guess, for all the events which we are having in AMC. No need to worry.
Oh,
Okay, thank you,
thank
भैया.
you. Thank you guys for becoming such a wonderful audience. जिसको भी जो भी doubt हो, you can ping any of our seniors, any one of us, or can type in the WhatsApp group. We will clear all your doubts. So that's all from our side. Thank you. Good night. You can all leave and do fill the feedback form